Today's game of heat, boosting, boosting, boosting. So, just going to go over another game of heat that I played recently. I was on a pretty bad streak of third, fourth place. And before that, I was on a streak of second place a lot, a few wins here and there. So, having a win under my belt again, hopefully I'll head me in the correct direction here. So, sorry, this is my second time recording this. Had a little snafu with the first time. So I get to draft second here and seventh. So the cards that look good to me are the wings and the tires. The wings just to help through these short turns, where I can only move 2. Moving 5 through here or 4 is much better than, some of the other options. Plus, if I'm a little bit behind here on this straightaway or after this turn, having a wing to get through further to maybe slipstream somebody is really good. So that was my thought process on these. Then I will try to take cooling system here was the plan, right? So, Munismo took the turbocharger. They don't have to worry about straightaways now, I guess. So that's. I took the tires plus because it has way more utility also than the wings, because if I don't use them in the corners here, I can use them in a straightaway as a double boost, right? Or a double stress, basically. Chris takes the wings. And Kevin Smith, I'll just call him Kevin so we don't get confused with the director, takes the 2 RPM cards. I'll talk about that later in the race here. So I get my cooling system. I've really grown to like this card a lot as like a second pick. Simply because when you're in these long straightaways, especially on this Italia track, it's hard to cool down heat, right? Until you get to the corners, right? So having that cool down on these straightaways is a big help. I didn't explain the track conditions. So we do have overheat in this last corner. We do have a free boost here, which could be useful in certain situations, but wasn't in this race for the most part. We have an extra cooldown in this section. We do lose 1 heat, so we all only have 5 heat to work with. So this wouldn't even be a bad pick in this game as like a last pick during the round. But I guess Blue really likes turbocharger because they took both 8s. So the second round of the draft comes along and I'm like, I'm drafting so late and I really don't need the wings anymore because I have that tire plus. So the best cards here are this 4-wheel drive with the bonus for every boost, which is okay. And obviously this 4-wheel drive with the 3 boosts. This is one of the best cards that you can get. It's normally taken first anytime it's in a round of the draft. But Kevin takes the wings. I'm like, oh, there's no way I'm still going to get that triple boost, right? Then Chris takes the 4-wheel drive with the bonus stub boosting, right? And this is falling all the way to me. I'm super excited. So I got that. I really don't want this anymore because I now have this, right? So I either want the RPM or the tires here. That's what I'm really aiming for. tires a little bit more than the RPM, simply because of two things with it. One, it lets me increase the speed of the corners, right? If I have to use it on a straightaway, it gives me a cooldown. It also gives me a slipstream. It's a really good card. Chris chooses an RPM, which I think is the third one, right? Let me go back, make sure I'm talking about the right person, right? Oh, Kevin took both of them. So yeah, he's the one that took back to back. Okay. Still, that's a pretty good card. If you're coming out this corner, right, instead of just going 2 and maybe getting to here, you might be able to get within range of this corner, right? All right. Kevin takes the suspension with the slipstream. So he has 3 slipstream cards in his hand. What does he get rid of? He gets rid of the suspension. Okay. So I draw pretty good off the bat. I'm in on the 11 space here, so I'm going 10 will put me to the 1 space. But then I see like some of the moves right off the line. Like Kevin must have had a bad hand. They only went 7, right? So they're in range of the corner, but they're not real far past it, right? Chris goes behind them and then slipstreams 3 because they played their body card. So I go my 10. I'm next to Chris here. So I'm okay with that. I'd prefer to have somebody else in front of us. And the green legend isn't going to help us, of course. So it all comes down to blue. And the reason why I want somebody else in front of us is, and I'll go through this real quick. Once they're done here. Okay, so the reason why I want to be in 3rd place here, right? Oh, they just went and took their next turn because they got back-to-back turns. Okay, it finally quit spazzing out on me here. I want to be able to slipstream here, but being in 3rd means like red can slipstream off of blue, and then I can slipstream off of blue, right? And then red will be in front of me still, and then I can slipstream off of them in the next corner, right? Unfortunately, Munismo does a weird move and goes 7 for like, I have no idea why. So they just burn 2 heat. I think it's a little bit of a drastic maneuver to do that. You're not really gaining like a gap between us because I'm just going to slipstream off of red now and be behind him. So okay, Chris goes 6. Like he was, I think, planning on being next to blue and then slipstreaming. Yeah, I mean, he did a free boost also. I think that's the only time it really got used. Okay, so I'm in a good position here. I'm going to be able to come up here and slipstream again past blue. I think they need to come up with a skip or go through the whole round instead of going to next player, go to next round. Be much smoother for me. All right. So like I said, I'm going to go through this corner and slipstream off of blue. I decide we have free boost here. Why don't I take a chance here? Just use my tires by itself. I felt pretty good that I'd get a good card. Or a 1 of the 2, right? So that's just based on what cards have been played so far. So blue goes right past the line. Since I play my tires, I get a 4. And it's only going to cost me 1 extra heat here because I get the increase of speed due to those tires, right? Then I can slipstream 3 more. Okay, Kevin goes right here because blue's going to help most of us get through this turn, really, because of where he's at. Chris was really worried about getting stuck behind the line, so he just went 5, which is an okay move, like if you're really concerned. But I probably wouldn't have done that just because of the distance blue was when they took their turn. I doubt they were going to be here. They're more likely going to be here, right? But I'm saying more than likely, right? I mean, there's no guarantees, right? Okay, I just wanted to get through this corner. I pay the extra heat to do it. Unfortunately, it makes it easier for everybody else. At least that's what I thought. Which it does make it easier for yellow. The good thing about coming through here is I have all my good cards ready to go for this straightaway. So I wasn't worried about spending the extra heat. I did think Chris was also going to use me to slingshot through the corner, but I guess they didn't have the heat to cool down to get through it because they were here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, spend 2 heat. They could have probably did it, but I don't know what cards they had in their hand. Maybe they didn't have the right cards to get to the line. Okay. And Unismo gets to the line. Here's where you get to see the power of this triple boost, right? Kevin moves 10. So that's 3 really good cards out of his deck to go that far. So even with them being random cards, I still blow past them, right? And go 15. So yeah, I played the cooling system. I did play the 3, but I was still able to move further than them based on using that boost. And you'll see that on all 3 of these laps that I blow past everybody on this straightaway for the most part. I really am beginning to think that this track is more about the straightaway than it is about the corners, right? As long as you can make them through, you don't need to do anything fancy. Just get through them, get to the straightaway, have some very powerful cards that make you move a lot of spaces, and then you can you probably can do pretty well, right? Now, one thing I probably wouldn't do is take 2 8 turbo boosts like Blue did. Okay. So I went into 4th gear here. Played my other big cards and stress. So it was 4, 4, 3. But I only flipped a 1. A little bit disappointed, but more than likely I was going to have to stop in here somewhere anyways. So Kevin takes their turn, doesn't quite catch up with me, tries to boost, gets a 1. Chris goes 10 spaces, so he's significantly further behind, right? Blue actually does catch up, so they played an 8 and 3 4s, so it's a pretty good go. Okay, Get right down to the 2 here. That's fine. Gives other people a chance to go past me, which is preferable. But I don't know if there was some like I don't know what to call it, what happens here. Remember how blue went 7, right? Through this corner. We're about ready to see this happen again. Once again, I don't really see all that much use for doing it. At no point in time am I concerned about that move. It's just a strange move for me to see. It's almost like you're burning heat for no reason, in my opinion. Like, oh, they did. Oh, that's why they went 7. That's my bad. I'm talking all this bad stuff. They did have the wings. That was my bad. I forgot they had the wings. So they'll spend 1 heat. So I was 100% wrong there. But it was funny to me that they both went 7, right? But at least yellow had a good reason to. Even though personally I would have saved the wing for up here, right? This corner is pretty rough. Once again, not really worried about being a few spaces behind right now, because I know I can catch up, right? Blue gets to the corner, pays the heat. Red and green are lagging behind a little bit. The green legend card was not very friendly to anybody in this game. You have those games where they will help you, and there's those games where they just are not helpful at all. So I just go 4 and cool down. Once again, I know I didn't make this corner. That's fine. I'm going to set myself up to get through here, right? I think that was part of the reason why I did so well in this race, is I knew I had that advantage on the straights, that I wasn't too concerned about being a corner behind, because I knew I could catch up, right? Chris does get a little help from Green Legend, but that's the only help I think anybody gets from them. Okay. Go 6 to the line here. I like my position here because I'm going to go around here and then red will slipstream me. So to get back to the double slipstream bonus cards, I've tried to get that to work in the past, where you play 2 RPM cards and get like a really big slipstream, but there's so many pitfalls in that. One, you might never get those cards together. 2, you might have both those cards together, but not in the right position to do it. Like you might be on the straightaway, right? You might need bigger cards than those slipstream cards, those RPM cards. So what do? Do you hold on to them? Do you discard them and hope you get them back before you get to the corners? I I'm not a big fan of it. I tried it a few times myself. It just doesn't seem to work for me. So, right. So I'm going to play 5 here. I'm going to spend all my heat to get through this corner. So I cool down 1. I spend all 3 to get through it. I know that once I'm through it, I know I'm going to zip past everybody again. So the only one that's really can challenge me in the straightaways is blue. But if I'm getting through the corners before he does, or they do, I should say, I'm not too concerned. So Kevin is going to move 10 again. It's almost a replay of the first lap. I think he went 10 on that one, and I go 15 again. Or 12, I'm sorry. So I see my cooling system came up. I don't want to spend these yet. I have enough big cards to get further along here, so I want to wait till my heat comes back into my hand. That's what I'm trying to do. Blue once again is stuck behind the corner. So back at the 10 spot again. Once again, Kevin can't catch up to me here. Gets another one. Chris catches up and slipstreams. Okay. So I'm definitely going to spend these 2 here to get rid of these heat. So of course we have to get through the rest of these turns for this round. Once again, green is not really helping anybody, just staying right next to people, not passing them. So I did a 4, a 2, and a cooling system. A 4 cooling system, a 2, and the tires, and flopped a 4, which got me right to the line. So it's pretty good for me there. But then I see this garbage. 3 1s, 2 stresses, 2 heat. Not really a great hand of cards for this corner. So the worst thing that could happen is I can move 2. If that happens, maybe red goes past me. By going 5, I can then maybe slipstream them again down here, right? My problem is I really don't have a lot of heat, right? So I got to be careful. Blue plays the double turbocharger here, which I thought was pretty funny. Goes 16 with 2 cards, but still look how far behind they are, right? I luck out and get a 4. Chris uses his wings again. Don't know if they really needed to do that, right? I'm right in front of them. If they go 6, they're guaranteed to slipstream me, probably. If they go 5, they're more likely to slipstream me. So they spent a heat when they probably didn't need to play that wings card. Small things that make a big difference because now you're out of heat, right? Chris crashes because they couldn't downshift. It's a painful thing. I've been there before. Green Legend catches up to red. Oh, there was another slipstream because of the legend, but not real that beneficial, right? Okay. See now, if he would have went 5, he would have been in the same spot by slipstreaming me. Then he could have played his wings and got roll far ahead of me, right? So he gives me they give me the opportunity to slipstream here. All right. I'm definitely going to do it. It's the last lap. I want to make sure I get through all these corners, right? Now, the real problem is I'm in front of Kevin, right? Here, in front of yellow. If I go to the line, I might help him through, right? That was my thinking. Even though he doesn't have any heat, you know, maybe he can somehow get here and cool off some heat, right? So I decided just to go 3 and let yellow zip past me up to the line, or maybe even to here, right? So okay. Blue is kind of stuck at the line here. Red will take advantage of that. Then green does that weird little 2 movement. So I'll look at the legend card, right? So green's supposed to go to 0, right? Is that how that works? Okay, Kevin shifts. Goes 3. I'm going to play my 2 2s and go 4. I'm not concerned about the heat right now. Mainly because I have my triple boost again, right? And I do get a heat, so I can use the cooling system. So I'm going to go real far this turn, right? Chris gets stuck behind the line here. And then blue finally gets through this corner here. Get a pretty good draw here. 13 spaces, not bad. I decide to boost. I get a 4. So once again, I'm not worried about Kevin because I don't think he really grabbed a big card that can let him move a lot of spaces. So he's going to be behind me. Then when I redrew, I had to shuffle the deck, and I got my 4-wheel drive back, so like not very much of a chance for anybody now to pass me. Uses adrenaline to get through the corner here. I mean, you're desperate at this point, right? The problem is you really can't use his 8s because he has no heat, right? So I get a 1, and I get a 1, and I get a 2. I still move 15. That's where I end up. Kevin has some really bad luck here. Gets a 2. Can't cross the line. Chris moves 10. And then Unismo moves us 12 total after the adrenaline, and slipstreams 2 more. Then Legend Card decides to go Ultra Giga Chad mode here and fly all the way around the track. Kevin gets through the finish line all the way around the corner there, but watch this. Green Legend does it again. Was drinking their Mountain Dew. Who's their sponsor, obviously, because of the color of their car, right? And takes second place. It's really a shame, right? I think the Legend cars are like way too erratic for me. They could be like way behind and all of a sudden zip way ahead of everybody. Or they could just be stuck behind everybody for the whole game, or stuck ahead of everybody for the whole game. There's really no, doesn't seem really balanced. You know, I would expect it to move consistently like we do, right? I mean, that green car moved from here all the way to here, right? It's a ridiculous amount of movement. 19, I believe, right? Yeah, 19. So, there's another game of heat in the books. Like I said, hopefully this win will put me back on a more positive trajectory. Also, things to take away is don't let that triple boost go past you. If you can get it, right? Worry about everything else as a secondary concern, especially on this track. This track is such a long straightaway, right? That getting to that finish line at the end is hard, right? So, other things, like I said, talking about the double slipstream, it did happen once in this game, but it's such a hard thing to do consistently. I wouldn't make that your main strategy. One slipstream card is probably enough. And just from experience, I know how hard it is to get it to work properly. So, all right. So if you like this content, please, like and subscribe. You can feel free to leave any comments if you like the video. If you see any things that I missed or any mistakes that were made, please let me know. I'll go ahead and respond as soon as I see any comments. And have a nice night.